Hi guys, so today I thought I'd do a kind of sit down video, and this one's going to be quite a serious talking video. It's going to be pretty long and kind of in depth because I really want to make a video about this because it can be helpful to people that don't understand. And there's my cat. Hello. Oh, she just woke up. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt the video. But I've got some notes here. So yeah, this video is going to be talking about Asperger Syndrome, which is the mental disability that I have, and what it's like to live with it, and just stuff about it. So it can help you if you know somebody that has it and you don't understand it, and it's really difficult to understand it unless you have it, honestly. Like, you're never going to fully understand it to the extent that people that have it do, so just keep that in mind. But I'm going to try and explain it as best as I can, and you know, it's educational too, and then actually it's going to help you understand me as a person a bit better. I'm sorry if I'm like playing with my hair a lot this video, but yeah. So first of all, I have some notes compiled here. Yes, I wrote a lot down and my handwriting is awful, but it's because I haven't written in so long that my handwriting just sucks now, but it doesn't matter anyway. At least as long as I can read it, which I should be able to. But yes, anyway, let's get on with it. So the first thing that I took this from a website, which I can't speak. I took it from autism.org.uk, I think. So yeah. So first of all, for anybody that didn't know, yes, Asperger Syndrome is autism. I have autism, I am autistic, and I don't really like saying that though, because it's used as an insult now to call people autistic, but I actually legitimately am autistic, so yeah. But you know, it's its own separate thing, but it's still a part of autism. And people with Asperger Syndrome can find it harder to read the signals that most of us take for granted. This is like an opening paragraph, which I wrote down because I thought it's slightly useful. This means they find it more difficult to communicate and interact with others, which can lead to high levels of anxiety and confusion. So it's all about just not understanding what people mean and what people think and what they feel, and they find it really hard to sort of try and get in someone's head and understand. And yeah, you know, I get that a lot with my boyfriend Aaron. I don't ever know what he's thinking or feeling, and I find it really hard to try and understand the way that he is thinking or feeling. Like, it's really, really difficult because I can't do it with like most people. Sometimes I don't understand people's emotions and stuff, and I just really can't comprehend it. So that's a major part, obviously. And of course it is a my cat really wants to be in this video, just don't mind her. It's a hidden disability, as it's called, because nobody ever knows that you have it. Because whenever I tell people, they're like, whoa, I didn't think there was anything wrong with you. I would have never guessed that you had anything wrong with you. So people don't know. It's hidden. You can't see it. You can't tell from my outward appearance that I have anything wrong with me, because I look normal. Well, the pink hair's not exactly normal, but I mean, like, there's no disfigurement in my face, or there's nothing different that shows that I might have some kind of disability or anything like that. Because if you're physically disabled, people can usually tell, because let's think of a physical disability. I mean, well, even like people that have Down syndrome, you can tell if somebody has Down syndrome because their faces look different. I'm not sure if that's offensive or not, but there's a certain way that it does something to your... I don't know. I don't know much about Down syndrome, but you know, this is not a disorder that you can tell by looking at somebody that they have anything wrong with them at all. And the difficulty comes in basically like three main areas, and these areas are social communication, social interaction, and social imagination, and I'm going to explain them to you. So first of all, wait a second. before I go into it, people also with Asperger syndrome, sometimes when you think somebody has autism, that they have like severe learning difficulties and stuff like that, but actually people with Asperger syndrome usually have an average or an above average intelligence. I am naturally really good at English, like English language kind of stuff. I've always been really, really good at spelling and writing stories and all that kind of stuff. I did well in English language at school. That was always my strong point, and I was average in everything else. So I didn't have any learning difficulties, except from one thing that I know about myself is that I have difficulty following instructions, and I would never ask for help in school because I was too scared to ask for help. So I would sort of just sit, and if I didn't know how to do something, I'd be like, oh God, what do I do? And I kind of just wouldn't do it at all. And that has got me in trouble. So that's not good. But I just sometimes don't understand instructions and don't understand that the way that they're put across to me by somebody. So, teachers, if they don't explain it in a way that I can understand, then I won't know what I'm doing. So that has caused me issues before. So I'm not really sure though if that's a learning difficulty. That's more me just not understanding, obviously, another social thing. But it still didn't stop me from, I got all C's and above in my GCSEs, so I was basically just pretty much average intelligence, and I did just fine. I didn't really struggle with subjects, like, everything was just kind of like, I'm alright, and, I didn't get bad grades, obviously, so it's fine. But you might have specific learning difficulties if you do have Asperger syndrome. For example, you might have something like dyslexia, or you might even have ADHD paired with it, which obviously dyslexia is a learning disability, and that can obviously get in the way and stuff. And I don't know why they listed ADHD on there under like learning difficulties. I don't know if that can affect your attention span and obviously the hyperactivity side of it, but I don't really know much about that either. But I don't really consider that a learning difficulty. That's more just another mental difficulty kind of thing. But I actually do have like an attention issue. I don't know if I have, if this is just entwined with the Asperger's, but I have like quite a short attention span. Like I'll be doing one thing and I'm like, oh, I need to switch and do something else right now. Like for example, when I was writing these notes, I had to like stop. Like I couldn't just continuously sit and write. I'm like, oh, do I need to do something else right now? And like while I'm writing, I'm like, oh, do I need to do this? Oh, do I need to eat right now? Can I eat something? Am I going to put something in the oven right now? Am I going to eat? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? I'm always like looking to do something else while I'm in the middle of already doing something, and I'm like always like want to switch to doing something else, and then I come back to it, and then I go back, and then I switch between doing activities. I'm not sure why I do that. I don't know if that's part of it or not, but it is like an attention problem that I have to keep switching between a lot of things. Some teachers did say that I had trouble paying attention in class, so I don't know if that is this or what, but it doesn't say anything about attention here, so that's probably something separate. But nevertheless, let's move on. So yeah, here we go with the social communication. Like people find it difficult to express themselves emotionally and socially. So I usually don't have that much, sorry, there's one piece of hair, that much difficulty. Okay, this is just going over here now because I'm sick of it. I do have a lot of difficulty, obviously, expressing myself socially. And for some reason, I have speech problems sometimes, because you can notice, like, I keep like mispronouncing words in this video. I don't know why. That's something that actually happens a lot, is that sometimes I just like pronounce a word weirdly or something, and then I like trip over my words. I think that is a part of this as well. But anyway, I usually don't have that much trouble expressing my emotions, but because because usually people can tell when I'm like upset or when I'm angry and stuff, but not knowing how to deal with my emotions is a problem I have, though, is I don't know what to do when I'm angry, so I sort of just freak out. I have like breakdowns and stuff, and I just don't know how to really, well, that is true, I don't know how to express myself emotionally, because I deal with it in a pretty much the wrong way, I guess, because I'm having like major breakdowns and stuff when I get angry or upset. I also cry a lot, so yeah. But also, yeah, another one here about social communication. This is usually people with Asperger syndrome have difficulty understanding jokes / sarcasm. So, for example, when somebody's joking with me, sometimes I think they're being serious and they mean what they say. Say they jokingly insult me, and then I take offense to it, and they're like, whoa, I was joking. I'm like, you sounded really serious to me, because I just can't tell sometimes if people are being serious or not. I'm like, wow, are they being serious right now? And then I like take offense to it and I get upset about it. But most of the time people usually are joking or being sarcastic, but then I just take it seriously, because that's just the way Asperger's works. Like, that's just a part of the not understanding the social communication. So yeah, that's one thing. And also not knowing when to start or end a conversation, and also not knowing sometimes topics in a conversation, or sometimes I don't know how to respond to certain things that people say, and I'm like, oh, what do I say to that now? So then I end up just not saying anything, and then they think I'm like ignoring them, and it's like, no, I really don't know how to respond to that. But then I don't want to tell them that, because then they might think that I'm dumb or something. I don't know, it's really difficult. And also, obviously, like, you know, I usually don't like start conversations with people. I wait for them to start conversation with me, because I'm not really sure like if I should or not. So I sort of just wait for people to come to me, because I don't know if they want to talk to me or anything like that. I mean, most of the time they do, but it's like I still don't know if I'm like bothering somebody. But yeah, that's really and I guess that's about it for the social communication. It's all I copied down. Sorry, I'm like my legs. I'm just in a really uncomfortable position. So yeah. Also, you struggle to make and maintain friendships. I don't so much struggle with the making friends thing anymore. I mean, like, in real life, yeah, on the internet it's easy. So I find it easy to make friends on the internet, because usually people just come to me and it sort of just happens. But maintaining friendships, yes, that's still a huge issue for me. Like, I've made so many friends online, and then I just suddenly grow apart, don't talk to them anymore. And then it's usually because I'm not making the effort to talk to them, because I feel like the friendship's kind of run its course, and I feel like I can't have the same thing with them anymore that I did when we were friends. So I kind of just like give up on the friendship. So that's a really sad thing. Yes, thank you for your input. So yeah, that's one thing. And yeah, this is like social situations, like you might behave in what may seem an inappropriate manner, which I have done plenty of times, acted inappropriately in a social situation, done something that I shouldn't have done, and then not realised that I've done anything wrong. For example, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something that I did. Oh yeah, one time I had a go at Aaron in front of his friends, which I shouldn't have done. That was an inappropriate way to behave in a social situation, but I didn't know that at the time. I just did it like in the heat of the moment kind of thing, or just doing something that is just not appropriate in a social situation. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I know I've done it plenty of times, but it's just really hard to think of examples. But yeah, that's mostly it for social communication. Obviously, there's probably a bit more to it, but I don't want the video to be like super long, because my camera only has like 20 minutes recording time. Now onto social imagination. So with this, and speak of the devil, it literally just ran out of space. Sorry about that. But anyway, like I was trying to say, imagining alternative outcomes to situations and finding it hard to predict what will happen next. So, yeah, I find it difficult to like, I don't know. I mean, I know that I have a problem where I always imagine like the worst case scenario out of like every situation. So it's like I make it out to be so much worse than it actually is going to be, and like I like a lot of times I just don't know what's going on, and like, yeah, I don't have an idea what is going to happen next. Like it's hard to predict what's going to happen next, so I start imagining obviously alternative outcomes, and they're usually negative outcomes, and then I get myself really worked up about it, and I don't know what's going on, I can't figure it out, and it's just frustrating. So that's part of the social imagination. You just can't really predict what's going to happen next. Also, understanding and interpreting other people's thoughts, feelings, or actions. Yeah, not understanding why somebody feels the way they do about something. Like I can't figure out like, why does this person feel like this, and it's just really just not being able to understand people's emotions. It is really frustrating, and there's just, obviously there's nothing I can do about it because this is just the way that it works. So, yeah, what does that say? Oh, having a limited range of imaginative activities. So I don't really have like a great imagination for things. So whenever I like get given, say like a task, or when I got given a task in like school or something that was quite imaginative or creative or something, it's very limited for me. I don't have a very creative mind. I find it hard to like conjure up something imaginative or creative. Like I'm not good at like artsy kind of stuff because I'm just not creative. Like that's just the way it is. Like I just can't imagine things to make something. Say for example, people in like health and social care like used to like take notes and stuff, and it'd be like all pretty, and they'd use all these different colours, and they brought in different pens and lay it out all good and stuff like that. And most of what I do is just like a mess. Like I can't have it all organised and good looking and creative and all that kind of stuff. Like mine just never was like anyone else's. And when I used to do art, my artwork was wrong. Like I got told that it was wrong, I did it wrong, and everyone else, it reminds me actually of this time I had to do a collage, and what I thought a collage was just a bunch of like, say it was like on this page, like pictures covering the entire page, like overlapping each other, like all over the page. So I stayed up for like hours covering an entire page in like, has to do with like plants or something shit like that, and I put them all over the page, all little pictures of these like plants and shit overlapping each other, and it was wrong. But I looked at everyone else's and they'd done theirs like completely different to mine. Like it wasn't just covering the full page, it was like one of my friends had done like something here with like a big picture here, and then like sticking things down, like materials, and just, perfectly placed on the page. And mine was just a fucking clusterfuck of like leaves all over the page, and it was just wrong. Because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I have no creative imagination and that kind of thing, and that's just what it is, really. That's the best way I can try to describe it. It's just, being really crap at trying to imagine things. So my imagination is like really different to everyone else's on the way that I do things. So that's pretty much. Can you please get away? Why did the lighting go weird, by the way? What the hell? Okay, I'm sorry about this. But now on to the characteristics. So one of the characteristics is a love of routines, and this is such a big one for me. It's basically, I'm in like the same routine every day. I do the same thing every day. And if it gets upset, something goes wrong, and it's suddenly not the same anymore and I'm like somewhere else, I start obviously to freak out, because I usually have a set routine of the things I do. I like doing the same thing every day. I don't want it to change. And then when it does, I can't deal with it. So that's a really big one for me. I like just doing the same thing. I don't want anything to change. I want my routine to always stay the same. Like, I don't want it to be different, because it just messes with me. I don't like it. So it's quite a obsessive thing for somebody with Asperger syndrome to want to be in a routine, and it don't want it to change. Also, special interests, having obsessions with this, like, strange things is a big one. For example, well, my little half-brother, who also has Asperger syndrome, he's only 5, but he's obsessed with washing machines. Like, he's obsessed with that. He's obsessed with washing machines. He loves them, and it's like, it's not even explainable. He just really loves washing machines, everything about them. He always does the washing for my mum and everything, and he just has this huge obsession with them. Like, it's just, I don't know why, but he's really interested in them. It's so strange. And I think for me, it always switches for me what my interests are. If I'm interested in one thing at a particular time, I'll become completely mindset, like, obsessed with that thing. So it's hard then for me to break away from that. But usually, like, my obsessions or whatever, they change. Like, I suddenly become super interested and obsessed with this one thing, and it's like, I need this right now, and I need to have this. Say it's like a particular object, and like, I need to get that right now, and I need it to make me feel like better or whatever. Like, for example, like when I wanted like a reborn doll thing, because I was like really obsessed with babies and stuff like that. I mean, I still kind of am, because I really wanted to have a baby, and I'm like, I'm gonna get one of these dolls, and I become really obsessed with the dolls, and I got a doll, and then I wasn't interested anymore, and I gave up on it. And you know, I'll always find new things to sort of be interested in. And the last thing I have in here is sensory difficulties. So this is things like, for example, I am sensitive to loud noises. I hate it when something is really, really loud. Like, I want it to shut up, like, or just turn down the volume. Like, sometimes the TV's like on too high volume, like, you have to turn it down right now, it's too loud. And when I was young, when I went to the cinema for the first time, I was like blown away by how loud it was. Like, I hated how loud it was in there. I mean, I got like used to it, but it's still kind of like, So that's why I wouldn't really want to go to like a club or something, because the music's just way too loud, and obviously the sensitivity to loud noises. And also, this is to do with things like, I have a major food problem with the texture of foods. If I don't like the texture of a food, I just won't eat it. It's completely off the list. There's so many foods with textures that I hate. Like, I hate slimy textures the most, probably. And I don't know what else. Like, it really depends on what it is. So, for example, I don't have sauce on my pizza, none at all, because the sauce is too slimy and just disgusting. It doesn't fit with it, and I just can't deal with the texture of it. There's just a lot of foods with horrible textures. So yeah, and I'm also like really, really fussy with food. Like, I used to like be obsessed with like the colour of food, but that's like not a thing anymore. It's just mostly the texture. So there's a limited amount of foods that I can actually eat. And also, it can be motor skills, which I do have trouble with, like really like fiddly little things, like trying to do with my fingers. I am really bad at doing them. For example, if like, you know, like threading a needle, I probably couldn't do that, because I'm just so crap at doing like little intricate things like that. I don't know why, like, just, you know, even like tying your shoelaces kind of thing. I don't really have a problem with that anymore, but I kind of used to. So yeah, I don't really have such a huge problem with the motor skills side of things, but yeah. And yeah, that's about it really. I mean, I'm trying to think of what else I can say. Just, yeah, I mean, what is it like to live with it? Well, well, for example, one sec. If you didn't know, I do get disability allowance for this. I get money from the government every month to support me, because it's pretty much near impossible for me to have a normal job because of how badly it affects the social side of things for me. So I don't think that I would be able to do like a proper job. Like, I think if I ever wanted to work somewhere, I'd have to work like in the back or something. I could never work on like a shop floor or something like that, at a till or something where you have to interact with strangers constantly, because I just can't deal with that. So it makes it kind of limits the things that you can really do. But I mean, you can learn to deal with it better as you get older, but I feel like I'm still in quite a bad stage of it right now. It doesn't mean that you can't have a normal job, it's a lot harder, and I don't want to put myself under that kind of pressure, and just like throwing myself in at the deep end kind of thing. So it's really difficult to be like a normal person, and just one of the hardest things about it is just people not understanding it. Like, when I tell someone they have it, they just don't have any idea what it is. So that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, also to give some information on it for the people that don't really know or understand what it is. So it really does heavily affect my life, every day of my life, because there's so many aspects of my brain that it's affecting, and it stops me from doing some things, and it's really hard to sort of step out of my comfort zone and try to do things, because then like any bad experience, say bad social experiences, I can't say if I had a bad social experience that day, can't stop thinking about it. It really messes with my head, and it upsets me, and I can't stop thinking about it, and then I feel so awkward and uncomfortable, and it's just horrible. So it really does affect my everyday life, and it's hard to cope with because there's no way of curing it. And yeah, it's not easy to live with it. Obviously there's much worse things that you can have, but Asperger's also goes hand in hand with anxiety and depression, which I do suffer from anxiety but not depression at the moment, but I have before. But I'm pretty much okay now. I don't know if I'm like over it completely, but I only really suffer from like anxiety now. So having that as well as this, it just intensifies it, you know what I mean? Because obviously when things like go wrong and stuff, the anxiety kicks in. Like, I get anxious about a lot of things that are from the Asperger's that it causes. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm not very good at explaining things, but I take so long to explain it. But yeah, I'm sorry this video has been like super long, but there's a lot to cover, and I'm sure there's stuff I forgot to talk about, obviously, because I've only wrote so many notes, because I'm like, oh, I've written too much now. It's just getting too much for me. So yeah, I think that's all I can really say on it for now. If you have any questions or concerns or anything like that, then go ahead and post in the comments and I will get back to you. But that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.